Hi everyone, welcome to my channel CodingCure. So by looking this slide, you would have know like I'll explain Kafka, right? So wait, everyone know what is Kafka and why Kafka, but before the Kafka, like how Kafka came and what's the internal of the Kafka, also how the different company like Netflix, Uber and LinkedIn so handle the real time data and millions of processing per second, how it works. So in this first episode I'll explain all these things about the Kafka, and by end of this video you will know why Kafka is called distributed streaming platform and where you can use it in your own application. So if you are a backend developer or a data engineer or just curious about the real time data processing, make sure to watch till the end and subscribe so you do not miss upcoming videos. Let's get started without delay. So what is Kafka and why Kafka and what is messaging system? So you know the Kafka is a message broker architecture and it is originated from the LinkedIn. The Kafka has written using the Scala and Java languages. But wait, first of all, we have to understand why Kafka. Okay, for example, let's say I have different application. Like suppose this is my one application, and this is one more application. Okay, this is one more application, and suppose this is front end application, front end, and this is my, let's say, chart server, and this is Hadoop. Okay, and some other application also there. For example, so I just copy this one. Okay, so this is my, let's say, database server, and let's say this is real time data processing, and let's say this is some data warehouse. Okay, suppose here my front end need data from different application, like from database server, also real time data and data warehouse. So what I will do, so here front end application will connect to database server to fetching the data. Again the front end server will connect to real time data processing to fetching the data. Again the front end server will connect to data warehouse, right? So here each of the application has different specification. So based on the specification I have to write the logic and fetching the data. Okay, and the chart server also need data. So what he will do, he will go to the database server and he will go to the here to real time data processing, and here also will go to the data warehouse. Okay, and Hadoop also similar kind of thing. It needs the data from here and from, so from here and from here. If we properly observe here, every application is talking to every application. Okay, so this will be mess up, right? So it is tightly coupled with this server. So to overcome these problems, what we can do, remove all these things. Okay, and suppose I need data, right, from, suppose this front end need data from three different services and chart server needs data from three different services. Okay, so do one thing, instead of calling to each and every application, let's call one application. Like here this one I can say this is a public repository. Okay, so just think that it's a public repository where all these application will share the data to different application, right? So instead of sharing each of these application, they will share the data to this public repository. Okay, so it will publish here, and this one will publish to here. And these application like front end application, chat server and Hadoop, initially these application talked with different application to fetching the data. So instead of calling different application, they just go to this public repository and fetch the data. So whoever wants the data, it will go here and read the data, and whoever sends the data, he just send to this public repository. This public repository is nothing but messaging system. Messaging system. So, in this slide, I said what is messaging system. Now everyone you clear, right? So what is messaging system? So messaging system is nothing but a common area where we can store or where we can persist the data. Okay, and everyone can send the data to the messaging system, and anyone can fetch the data from the messaging system. Now there are two different messaging system is there. Okay, there are two messaging system is there. What is that two messaging system? One is point to point messaging system. One is point to point messaging system, and second is pub/sub model. Okay, so what is point to point messaging system and what is pub/sub model? Pub/sub is nothing but publisher and subscriber model. Let's explain what is point to point first. Suppose this is a sender and he will send the data, and one receiver is there, he will receive the data, receiver, and he will receives the data, right? Now, so sender will send the data to where? In messaging system, right? So I am explaining the point to point here. Let's say this is, so here let's say this one is messaging system. Messaging system. Okay, so here the sender will send the data to messaging system, and the receiver will receives the data from the messaging system. Here in point to point architecture, messages are persisted into a queue. So this is one queue, and all the messages persisted in a queue. So queue is nothing but first in first out, right? But here problem is only one consumer or only one receiver will receive the message. Suppose I am a sender, I am sending some message like M1, let's say message M1 and M2, then M3, then M4. Let's say this message 1 is already received by one receiver or one consumer. Once the receiver or consumer will consume this M1 message, now the M1 message will be deleted from the queue system or messaging system. So this is the biggest problem in point to point messaging system. Okay, so here imagine a call center. Okay, so if one customer care will be there, then burden of the customer care will be increased, right? So how to solve this one? So this is the biggest problem in point to point system. To overcome these problems, pub/sub model came. So what is pub/sub model? So similar kind of thing, just copy this one and paste it here. Here sender will send the data, or I can say this is a publisher. Okay, publisher will publish the data to the messaging system, and there are different consumer is there or different receiver is there. Let's say I'm saying consumer. Okay, so this is one consumer, and this is one consumer, this is one more consumer, and this is one more consumer. There are three consumer is there, consumer 1 and consumer 2, consumer 2 and consumer 3. There are 3 different consumer is there, and this consumer, okay, so there are 3 different consumer is there, then one message can consume by different consumer. Suppose here 4 messages is there, and here 4 messages is there. Now publisher publish this message m1, m2, m3 and m4. Now the consumer consumes the m1 message, and once it will be delivered, it will not be deleted. In point to point system, what happened? Once this m1 message will be delivered, this message will be deleted, right? But here it will not be deleted because multiple consumer can consume the message. So the consumer 2 can also be consume m1 message. So that's why it will not be deleted. Okay, this is called pops up model. I hope everyone has understood now. Now in point to point, the example, like we can say this is JMS, and JMS is nothing but Java messaging services, and something like Rabbit MQ, Rabbit MQ. This is the example of point to point system, messaging system, and pops up model is the Kafka. Now we learn what is messaging system, and there are two messaging system. One is point to point, one is PubSub model. Now Kafka is part of the PubSub model. Now how the Kafka architecture looks like. So here is the image. So this is nothing but different producer, and this is nothing but different consumers. And producer can be a front end, can be a services, can be a proxies, adapter, anything. And the consumer also similar kind of thing, different type of application. And producer will produce the message, and consumer will consume the message, and the producer will produce the message to the Kafka broker. So I'll explain what is Kafka cluster. All this Kafka broker is part of the Kafka cluster, and it is managed by Zookeeper. So I'll explain everything, what is Zookeeper, what is Kafka cluster, what is Kafka broker. So this is an overview of the Kafka architecture. In the next video, I'll explain how we can install Kafka, and how we can run the Kafka server, and how we can publish the message, and how we can consume the message. Then I'll cover each and every part of the Kafka, like Kafka broker. Inside Kafka broker, different terminology is there, like Kafka topic, and how the message is persisted into Kafka topic, what is the partition, what is offset, everything, how the data is serializing, how it is deserialized, everything I'll explain in next video. Please subscribe my channel and share more and more, so that you can update whenever I'll upload the new video. Thanks for watching, and thank you everyone.